Lightweight, step at the side when we coming. Feel it in your chest, the syllables get pumping. People on the street get panic and start running. Words on loose leaf sheet, complete coming. I jump on my mind, I summon the rhyme, I'm dumping. Feeling the blind, I promise to let the sun in. Sick of the dark ways, we march to the drumming. Jump when they tell us that they want to see jumping. Dad, I want to see some fist pumping. Lift something, take back what's yours. Say something that you know they might attack you for. Cause I'm sick of being treated like I have before. Like a stupid standing for what I'm standing for. Like
all right. All right, welcome to Wide Awake Radio. I am your host, Charlie McGrath. My website's wideawakenews.com. We have about 80 folks in the chat room right now, so if you're listening and you would like to join into the program, especially if you would like to have some questions answered or post questions in the chat room to our resident gold and silver expert who will be joining us in a minute. Gabe Elton will be coming on in just a minute. So get over to the chat room. I know there's a lot of news going around about the bird kill and the fish kill, and we probably will not touch on this subject tonight. I'm lucky enough to get Gabe tonight. I'm lucky enough to get him for one show a month. So we're going to dedicate this hour to gold, silver, and the economy. Not that those other things aren't important, but we have to divide up the time that's best utilized with our experts that we get coming on here. So let me get right into it. I want to talk a little bit about some numbers that came out today and some reports that came out today. If you go over to my website, wideawakenews.com, the second headline on there, the very first headline is Unemployment Insurance Claims Weekly Report. Every single Thursday I post this report because it's from the Department of Labor, and it tells you how many people filed for first-time claims in the week prior. It tells you how many people filed unadjusted claims in the week prior, and so forth and so on. All kinds of statistics you can pull out of there. Now, this report I put first because I think it's a very reasonable metric to use to gauge the health of the economy. And I'm not talking about the adjusted data because this seems to be a piece of fiction that comes out that they pull out of the hat as needed. Now, according to this adjusted report, we had 409,000 people file for first-time claims last week. That was an increase of 18,000 from the week prior. The week prior, they came out with the first time ever, or the first time ever, it seems like forever, the first time in years when it was under 400,000. They did revise that up to 391,000 adjusted. I don't even know why I cover the unadjusted anymore. To the adjusted. I should just go right to the unadjusted data. Because inevitably, we have this not couple thousand. When they adjust this thing, they don't adjust it 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. They adjust this thing massively. 409,000 people reported for unemployment claims, allegedly, according to the adjusted data. Who really showed up, actual physical people that they took and they counted the applications for unemployment, was 577,279. So we had nearly 170,000 more than the government wanted to count, or at least that they seasonally adjusted down. This is the third week in a row that I've noticed that these numbers have been in the 100-plus thousand people that they're adjusting downwardly. Now, the second headline you see at wideawakenews.com is there for a reason, and I'm waiting for somebody to call me out on it, because it's a piece of fluff. I rarely ever put the fluff stories in here. Not the feel good, we should all jump for joy because we're driving our country off a cliff, but that's exactly what this headline is. I put it there because I wanted to show the duality of the media. I wanted to show you have real numbers right here. You have a picture of a guy who can't find a job right there. The real numbers, 409 fictitious thousand people filed for first-time claims, and then the real number right below it of 577,000. And right under this real data, you have a piece of fluff from Bloomberg. Fewer jobless claims filed in U.S. over past month as labor market revives. It is stunning to me that these two stories could be put together, not only on alternative media sites like mine, but you could have this exact same setup at any mainstream media business site. They will tell you the truth and then surround it with garbage. Fewest jobless claims fewer jobless claims filed in last month as the market revives. 577,000 people are filing for first-time claims. They surround the truth with garbage, and they taint the truth with propaganda. So you don't know if you're coming or going in this country. And unfortunately, most of the country doesn't know if they are coming or going. And I don't say that to be disparaging to people, the mainstream, the sheeple out there. But the fact of the matter is, we have... Look at the progression of the last 7 days. Goolsbee coming out on Sunday saying, Congress, you better not touch it. You better not keep that cap on our national credit card. Then, not even a day later, we have top heads in government saying, well, we better raise this thing up. Even the Republicans are saying we're going to have to back off on the pledge to America. As long as we get some future spending cuts, we'll go ahead and agree to bump it up. And TurboTax Tim Geithner is out today addressing Congress saying it will be detrimental. Once again, the fear-mongering, the threats are being issued. Ask yourself this question. Tim Geithner, who has he spent his life working for? Does he want to raise our national credit card limit to help the average American? That the radio news announcer lady said before this show began that 23 states are about to fall off any kind of assistance. These are the poverty prevention programs. In 2011, these states are going to be done for. And there is no political will in Washington to help the people of this country. Is Tim Geithner want to raise the credit card limit to help the people of the country? Does he want to help your neighbor who's been foreclosed on by a bank that's been bailed out 3 times? Is that what he's doing it for? Or is he doing it for the people he has served his entire life? If you think for 1 second this non-elected, appointed yacht club baby boy here is going to go out on the limb for the American people, you're out of your mind. He's going to raise the credit card limit to throw you and I further into debt so he can hand money out to his buddies on Wall Street. That's where he comes from. That's his background. Period. Plain and simple. He doesn't know Jane and Joe's six-pack from Adam. He doesn't know how to go out and earn a wage. He's never done it in his life. And he's not about to turn a new leaf and decide that after trillions of dollars of debt being thrown onto you, he's going to go and serve the American people by raising our national credit card limit. There's a reason they want it raised. And it isn't for you and I. So, if you or your friends or family members, co-workers, loved ones, were counting on the Republicans, this wave election to come in here, and you're counting on the Michelle Bachmans to go out and say, you know what, we're not going to tamper with this. I'm sorry to be the one to disappoint you yet again. There is no Tea Party, guys. They co-opted it and destroyed it. Okay? There is no movement in Washington that's looking out for the American people. Not one. Nobody. I know people want to, like Ron Paul. I like Ron Paul. I voted for Ron Paul. And I like what Michelle Bachmann's saying about our debt limit. They're not going to get anything done. Our new blubbering leader of the House of Representatives, he's the one who was out bragging about the pledge, saying, just give these Republicans another chance, and we'll get our debt under control. He's the first one to come out and say, we're going to have to re-strategize. We're going to have to rethink. We can't go all in right off the bat. We can't get our debt under control right away. We're going to have to, just do a little bit more here and a little bit more there. They've been saying this for years. The Republicans started the bailouts. The Democrats kept it going. The Republicans are going to keep it going. Geithner is going to raise the credit limit not to help the American people. He's going to help the people that he represents, and it isn't us. I urge everybody listening to me now, tomorrow morning, get up and call your congressman, call your senator, and say, no, $14.92 trillion in public debt is far, far too much. Do not raise it one dime. I am not afraid of our country defaulting. Maybe our country needs to default. Maybe we don't need any more fictitious credit being issued. to throw our children and children's children, and you, even if you're sitting there without kids, throw you into indentured servitude. So a bunch of criminal, parasitic banksters who should be perp-walked on the evening news. Rather than that, they're receiving the biggest bonuses of their life. It makes me absolutely ill to talk about. All right, that's enough. I'm 17 minutes into that, and I'm sorry, Gabe. I didn't realize I went off that long. Let me bring on our resident gold and silver expert. I hope I didn't terrify you, Gabe.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm used to it.
Sometimes you just go, and it's unbelievable. I know, Gabe. I know you're a working man. You report to your office every day. You're making calls. You're handling business. You're trying to make a living, and I know how time consuming that is. I mean, everybody listening to me now. Hopefully, if you have a job, I realize how hard the American worker has to go out and just break their neck in order to scrape by. And I look at D.C. and I look at the rhetoric and I look at the promises, and I realize that their interest is to tear us apart, not to try to help the American people, not to do anything that's going to benefit us. It absolutely makes me ill, and so I get impassioned about it for sure. Gabe Elton, just finished. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you're exactly right, Charlie. What I like to say is the only thing that Republicans and Democrats can agree on are the things that are worse for all of us. And those are the only things that they can come together on. They have this rhetoric that says, we shouldn't raise the debt ceiling. In fact, Barack Obama stumped on it as a senator, saying that it's a sign of a failure of leadership that the U.S. government can't pay its own bills, saying that the American government deserved better. And now here we have Timmy Boy going to Congress saying that if it isn't passed, that it's going to be catastrophic and chaotic.
Yeah, 2006, our president said that. I read that article the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's backbiting, it's two-faced, and it's people expect that out of their politicians, Gabe. They expect to be screwed over. Pardon my language. But that's what you expect with these slimeball used car salesmen. And that's when I see these guys standing up there in their $10,000 suits. That's what first thing that pops into my head is they're going to deliver a line. They're going to say something slick in order to codify the masses. But people expect that from them. But where I get discouraged, Gabe, and where I hate to say where I tend to lose hope is when I see the average American just breaking their neck, but they are so easily fooled into believing that this go around it's going to be different. This go around. My guy is going to get in there. My red team or blue team is going to get in there and get it all fixed. And unfortunately, the memory, our span of memory seems to be that of a gnat. They don't remember when Obama said this in 2006. They don't remember that the Republicans started the bailouts. And so here we go. We're on the merry-go-round, and it's a merry-go-round that I think is going to end up with the U.S. dollar auguring into the ground. And sooner rather than later, who knows? I honestly think if we drag this out, the longer we drag this out, the greater the pain is going to be. Maybe it's like Novocaine now. We've had this massive injection that you so brilliantly I'm tongue-tied, brilliantly pointed out in the Austin report, talking about a bubble economy. Is gold in a bubble? Well, $2.7 billion sold in October of 2010, and $155 billion in bonds in the same month, October 2010. So is gold in a bubble? Absolutely not. But we've had that $155 billion bond injection, which is tantamount to Novocaine, so we're a little bit numbed right now. But it's going to wear off, and when it does, what you're going to be holding, what you're going to put your store of value in is going to be, the only thing you have left. Would you agree?
That's exactly right. I mean, when you have a country that on November 22nd, 2010, we became the largest bondholder of U.S. bonds in the entire world. Nobody's even close. We've surpassed China. So I think that's a day that's going to live in infamy. It's a day that nobody really heard about on the news. It's not a big news event. But, in fact, it is complete lunacy that the United States Federal Reserve is the largest bondholder of U.S. bonds in the whole world. And if anybody out there that doesn't own gold and silver but can listen to that sentence, I will just tell you, you're out of your mind if you're not preparing yourself, because never before in the history of the world has this happened. And here we are, right here. And you said, we're out breaking our necks on a daily basis. Perhaps that's why we can't get control of Washington, D.C. Maybe it's because we're too busy in this rat race just trying to survive. And I have to believe that that's the way that Washington wants us.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. I mean, you have a very small, it isn't a small, but it is a minority of the people who go to work every day who pay the bills of this country. I believe we have 110 million taxpayers in this country. Everybody else is either on the dole one way or the other, or they don't work because they can't find a job. But 110 million people are out there busting it, giving it all, and it still isn't enough. Our government still doesn't have enough money with that, so they're going to spend $1.4 trillion annually in deficit. They let all the workers go out and they can send all their tax money in so they can pay it in interest to the Federal Reserve. And if you think, on both ends, the Federal Reserve gets it in the creation of the money, and now, since the government is the largest holder of debt, the Federal Reserve gets it on both ends of it. So they're doubling down on the destruction of the U.S. dollar.
That's exactly right. And you think about, they say, well, we've got to raise the debt ceiling. We've got to raise the debt ceiling. But no one asks, who is the debt owed to? And that's who it is. It's the Federal Reserve and the gang of banksters that run our country. And that's basically the situation that we're in. Unfortunately, the only end that I see to this long term, I don't think there's going to be hyperinflation overnight. But, reading some of the things like Shane McGuire, our good friend that wrote the book Hard Money and Buy Gold Now, he put it in the introduction, which, by the way, I covered a portion of it in my newest report. Actually the introduction of his book was posted in Newsweek recently, and he named it. And basically what he said, and Shane McGuire is definitely not a person who I would not call him a survivalist. Basically, he is an academic in my eyes, but what he said in his introduction, this was written, 6 to 8 months ago, he says buying gold is the best method for shorting government. Betting against government has strong odds in the midst of surging deficits. Hyperinflation is fortunately a rare event, and it is unlikely to emerge at present, but if you consider that all 30 documented cases of hyperinflation, that is, in hyperinflation, by the way, is defined where prices rise 50% per month. All 30 times that it's ever happened, it was during a deflationary environment and deficits were spiraling out of control. And this is the same exact scenario that we heard from Gonzalo Lira 6 to 8 months ago whenever he said how hyperinflation will happen here. And, everybody looks around and says, oh, no, there's deflation. There's going to be deflation first. Well, what they don't realize is we've been in deflation, and every time that hyperinflation has ever risen its head is in a period that exactly like what we're experiencing right here and right now.
Where you have a government who is willing, especially in a climate of complete total fiat currency. During the Great Depression, our currency wasn't completely fiat currency. It still was backed by gold to an extent.
That's right.
But you have a situation where you have a government who is willing to go to any lengths necessary, proven. This isn't speculation by Gabe, Elton, or Charlie McGrath. Proven. Trillions of dollars in just a few years to bail out their friends who finance their careers, basically. And they will go to any lengths to protect their asset values. So even though, as you pointed out in your prior Austin report, we had corn, soybeans, oil, any commodity that you need to get by day-to-day life is shot up over the last year, at least on the wholesale level. And but you see things like housing, and you see these other assets that are trying to deflate, and they can't because the Federal Reserve and our government keeps cranking out the money to keep them inflated, and that's only to help the people who own them. And truly, the banksters are the ones who are sitting on, well, they were sitting on most of this toxic debt. But, over 2.5 years now, they've managed to shift a lot of that burden onto the American people. So once the government, once the government decides to tell us what the real inflation rate is, not this, what is it, Gabe? 1.2% is what they're saying?
I think 1.2% is what they're saying. Other people like John Williams at Shadow Stats says that it's at least 7% in reality. Whenever you take in, just like government figures, you talked about these unemployment figures. It's the same case whenever we talk about inflation. Inflation is the way that they calculate it. It's been changed 14 times over the last 20 years. So if you just adjusted or reported the inflation number based on the way that they did back in the 70s, inflation is well over 7%.
Well, and when you factor in those giant increases you saw were in the last year at the wholesale level, the rumbling coming out of a lot of corporations now that they source all their material overseas, and I'm thinking of the Gap interview that I've referenced here before, where he said they can no longer absorb the rising cost of commodities, so the increases are coming. Couple that with all the propaganda of how everything's getting better and where green shoots are abound, man, it's spelling inflation big time, real inflation in 2011. Tim from Seattle, I know you're sitting on there. Please hold on over the break. We'll get you right on. This will be the only break of the show. Stay tuned for more Gabe Elton on Wide Awake Radio. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Wide Awake Radio. We have Gabe Elton from Awesome Rare Coin as our guest for the entire hour. Gabe, can we take a quick phone call before we get into the survival pack I want to talk about?
Oh, of course, sure.
All right, Tim, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for holding. I appreciate it. Tim from Seattle. Do you have a question for Gabe?
Yes, Gabe. This is my question. Also for you, Charlie, because I know you keep up with things like this. But corn. The one thing that I see that beats gold and silver is the sleeper, which is the commodity card. Corn, flour, wheat, beef, on average, have gone up 84% in the last year. And taking in consideration that you got birds and fish dying, which is food. You seem to have we're going into some kind of mini ice age. Then you multiply the convergence of several factors. The bankers stealing all the money, war in Asia, Middle East, just so many convergence of so many things, weather changes. And then the final thing is the manipulation. I think the food and the commodities, I think the one thing that the one worlders are going to do is they're going to gang us on the food. And I think one day people are not going to be worrying about buying silver and gold. They're going to gang us, and they're going to manipulate the commodities market. And that causes incredible stress among the population, which they don't have time to look up and see what's going on, let alone try to get educated. They're worrying about spending $3 for a loaf of bread or $5. So my question to you, Gabe, is on the commodities front, calculating in the manipulation by the powers to be, the convergence of all the geopolitical and economic situations in the world, the weather patterns, and the fish dying, food. Don't you think that's the big sleeper? And also, don't you see the commodities as a dual investment vehicle in the sense that, like I bought 1,000 cans of tuna for $0.25 each at an auction. Now, I can sell it down the road. I made sure the date was right. It was good tuna. Or I can eat it. So it's dual investing, whether I need to keep it to eat it or I can sell it off. So what do you think of that, Gabe? Thank you.
I would 100% agree with you. I think pardon the pun, but there's no silver bullet. There is no one thing that I think is going to save us from what might be in store. And I think a large percentage of that is gold and silver, but I personally am very big on agriculture. I say that I don't. It's not like I buy agriculture on the markets, but if I had the money, I would personally be looking at buying a farm. I think all of that is extremely important. The old saying, you can't eat gold or you can't eat silver, but the same thing that you mentioned, it kind of goes back to having both agriculture, food, gold, and silver, and that is, what are people going to do when they have to buy a $5 loaf of bread? Well, if bread's $5, gold's $2,500, and it's better to hold gold and silver than dollars. So I think you need a little bit of both, but I happen to agree with a lot of what you said. I think agriculture has a lot of upside, and personally, just like I don't recommend buying paper, gold, and silver, that means silver or gold ETFs, I like to buy the real thing. Well, the same is true with agriculture. I personally have storable food, and, like I said, if it were my choice, I would be on a 100-acre farm in West Texas somewhere.
Well, I would just like to encourage Charlie to get together with Dex and with his audience to form up some kind of combined cooperative block, either to buy commodities or, Charlie, you got a couple thousand soldiers that listen to you. That's quite a block. If you could get together with Dex and form some kind of cooperative or investing pool, I throw a couple $100 in it. I'd take a chance that Dex says buy wheat futures. I'd try it. I mean, just something to think about.
Well,
Thanks so much.
I appreciate. I greatly appreciate the vote of confidence you have in myself and Dex, and as I've said before, this isn't, I'm not an investment guy. I don't trade, I don't day trade. I talk to experts who do, experts like Dex, and he will continue to have a spot on this show, and I think it's important because he is being able to follow the trends in the market and make money, following what the criminal elite are doing. I myself would be not interested in being bogged down in that. I do appreciate what
Charlie. You got credibility. Dex has knowledge.
Yeah.
See, you're like us.
Dex has credibility.
If you were to jump, then we were to jump. You see what I mean?
No, I see what you're saying, Tim. And let me. I'm not discounting your idea. Let me tell you my thought. And I'm going to kind of echo what Gabe said. Ever since I've been on YouTube, ever since I've done this radio show, I've said, the first thing you need to do is mentally prepare for where we're at. You're not being told the truth. You're being lied to. Once you have your mind wrapped around that, you need to prepare physically, however best you can. And obviously, Gabe is sitting here on the show with me, but even Gabe just said the first thing you need to do is take care of your physical needs, your food. You may prepare for, I think that preparing for a disaster, man-made or natural, for 3 to 6 months is a must. If I talk gold and silver. I have gold and silver because if I have anything left after those basics are done, then I want a store, and I can't see anything better than storing wealth in something that's been money for 5,000 years. I think, Tim, you're getting more into the trading it and making money on it. Honestly, to be honest with you, I appreciate your words, but making money trading corn or trading commodities like that does not interest me. That's not what I'm about. I don't like the fact. I don't like the fact that I would be able to make a fortune on the misery of other people, and that's kind of what it comes down to when you look. We're killing our environment. We're killing any possibility of recovery. We're seeing commodity food prices and weather events all over the world that's going to make misery a very commonplace thing. And is there an opportunity to, pool money together and make money? Yeah, I don't want to be part of that. Tim, I greatly appreciate your call. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on though because we have about 20 minutes left. And Gabe, I want you to talk about this new deal you sent me today, the Survival Pack. I like the way it sounded. You're getting more into. It sounds like you're putting something together more in the realm of junk silver, right?
Yeah, I've always, almost every time I'm on your show, either someone's talking about junk silver in the chat room or someone calls about it. So I wanted to make sure to include it in this month's promotion. The term junk, it just basically is an industry term. Basically what we're referring to are pre-1965, 64 and before, quarters and dimes that are made and minted out of 90% silver. What this offers is a fractional silver piece. With gold, most people that are buying it with the idea that they might have to use it in a barter situation, they want to have a smaller gold piece that would be easier to exchange. Well, junk silver or pre-65 quarters and dimes give you that opportunity in a silver product. And there's not very many products out there that offer a fractional silver piece. So very happy to be offering that. And what we've done is we're putting together packages that include junk silver along with the fractional gold coins so that you've got a mixture of both. Now, of course, that can be changed based on personal preference. Someone might call and say, well, I'm not interested in the gold. I'd rather have just the junk silver. That's completely fine, but we wanted to offer it to you in packages. One of the reasons why is because on a wholesale level, 90% silver coins are sold in $1,000 face value bags. Now, I'm lucky enough to be able to get half bags for every now and then, but a half bag of 90% silver is $6,000 wholesale cost, basically. And so we've got to, kind of divvy it up between different packages. So that's what we've done. And, we'd be glad to offer for your listeners smaller packages. You don't have to go $6,000 into silver in order to enjoy some junk silver. And that's really only available to your listeners. We don't offer that to other people.
That's so. What is it? The size it's coming in ounces?
Basically, the way that they're measured is by face value. The way that they were traded back before, they were kept in banks is $1,000 face value bag.
Okay.
$1,000 face value bag would be 4,000 quarters or 10,000 dimes. Well, it contains 712 ounces of silver. And so a 500-ounce bag or a half of a bag, or 500 face value, I should say, you've got about 360 ounces of silver there, and so on and so forth. And that's basically how I broke it down. But I also let your listeners know if they click on the link and go to our webpage that features this particular offer, you'll see that the first package has a $50 face value bag, which is about 36 ounces of silver.
Okay, so it's you broke it. I'm writing down as you.
Yeah. Let me give you that. Like a $50 face value bag of pre-64 dimes and quarters, you're looking at 36 ounces of pure silver, not 90% silver. 36 ounces of pure silver. Each quarter contains 0.192 of an ounce of fine silver, and each dime contains 0.77 of an ounce of fine silver.
Okay.
And then it goes on. I've got, we've got a $5,000 package that includes a $100 face value bag. The $10,000, there's a $200 face value bag. And if anybody wanted to step up and do a $25,000 package, that includes an entire $1,000 face value bag of junk silver. And each of those that I just mentioned to you, they're supplemented with gold. As I mentioned earlier, some people might want to go all gold. I have a feeling some of your listeners might want to go all silver. It seems that this junk silver is going to be a big hit with Wide Awake listeners, and that's why we put it together for you guys.
Well, it sounds great. I like the idea of the 36. I mean, that's around $1,000. If I'm doing my math correct here, in that neighborhood to get into having some silver and in a very exchangeable, an exchangeable amount. I mean, I can't remember. You just said how much silver is actually in a 1964 quarter, but it's obviously easy to exchange because it's already money.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's recognized, and people ask me all the time, and all of this is just all that we can do is make an educated guess. But people ask us all the time, if things were to break down and we're using gold and silver for money, how will people really know that quarter really has silver in it, or that French rooster or Swiss franc is really minted out of, has 0.186 of an ounce of gold in it? And my answer is that, people will adapt, and commerce, I think, will continue. And I think it will be very quick where people know that a 1964 quarter has 0.192 ounces of silver in it. People will know that a dime contains 0.077 of an ounce of fine silver in it, simply because that might be the only way that commerce is continues. And you can look back over human history, and that's one thing that we've always been able to do is continue commerce. And I think gold and silver, not only will it be a big beneficiary, but people will begin to notice it. And, that sort of brings me to another point is, going back to the fact is gold in a bubble. Well, the Sovereign Man, he's a newsletter writer. He used a perfect line. He said, at the top of the gold and silver market, we're going to be seeing the exact opposite. Now we're seeing everybody buy your gold or sell your gold to us.
Right.
We're looking to buy
cash for gold.
Yeah. What he says is, well, when the market has topped, the public will have wised up. People on the street will be able to tell the difference between an American eagle and a gold maple leaf. And I think that's the direction where we're heading, where the average guy knows the difference between the two. And right now, I can say that we're nowhere close to that point. You might remember maybe a year and a half ago, Mark Dice, an activist in California, went around offering a $50 gold piece. And at the time, gold was over $1,000 an ounce, and he offered a 1 ounce gold maple leaf for $50, and he couldn't find a single buyer.
I remember that, and I watched that video, and it did go viral. And I know there's some questions coming in from the chat. I'm going to grab them here. We still have about 9 minutes left, but sure. I remember that video, and he was out on the street, a 1 ounce gold eagle. And I watched it. It did go viral. There's a lot of people that saw that. And I thought after that, these people are nuts. But then again, I was thinking, wait a minute. If somebody walked up to me in the street, I obviously know the value of a gold eagle. I'd be very suspicious, but I don't think that was the case. I think, in a lot of these cases, they just had no clue.
That's
For them,
right.
It's because we've been trained that, Gabe. I mean, we've been trained by the media that, and not just the media. Any investment advisor that's sitting in front of you will never recommend gold or silver to you. Maybe now, maybe with the obvious destruction of our dollar and with the surge in alternative media, more people are waking up to the idea that they need to have some security. But in past, I've been in the career I'm in for 20 years, and I've never had a financial advisor say to me, "You ever think about gold or silver as an investment?" Because it doesn't pay a dividend, it doesn't pay a commission. Somebody isn't able to trade it and sell it off and make money and not care what the end result of that contract is. And we see now what that leads to. We end up with these exotic investment vehicles that slicksters can make a fortune on, and you think you're growing your wealth, but you're really not. All you're doing is you're at the craps table, and unfortunately, it's crapped out. Okay, one of the questions I had in the chat, and I'm just having a difficult time trying to keep up with the chat tonight, writing questions down, was, do you ship to Canada? Survival 1 in the chat room asked, he likes junk silver, do you ship to Canada?
I wish we did, actually. That's a big hurdle that I wish we could cross a lot more easily. The problem that we run into is we ship everything U.S. Postal. U.S. Postal is the only carrier that will register and insure gold and silver. If you use UPS or FedEx, the company has to have a third-party insurance that insures the package. It creates a lot of red tape and legwork, so we have not done that. We use strictly U.S. Postal, so unfortunately we can only ship here in the United States. I do have Canadian clients. Most of them live right near the border and have a mailbox on the U.S. side.
Okay, all right. Another question, Cookie came from Cookie in the chat room. Please ask about the junk for gold, cash for gold. So yeah, look at Freudian, junk for gold.
Right.
Getting back. Please ask about selling. Oh man, it's scrolling so fast. Selling gold jewelry for cash. How much per ounce? Go ahead, Gabe, because I've contacted a few people, so I'll give my answer after yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great question. Cash for gold, and most of the companies out there are going to give you a really low ball bid so they can buy your gold for pennies on the dollar. That's one reason, but another reason is because until the gold is refined, they really don't know how much it's worth, because some gold ring, for instance, that says 14 karat may in fact not really be 14 karat. And the way that we do it is a little bit cumbersome, but we offer you a lot better money that way. We work closely with a refinery in Dallas, Texas. And basically, clients that have been mine for a few years, I have several that own pawn shops, and they'll send me, like a bag of class rings to be recycled. But I don't know how much to tell them that I'm going to be able to pay them. They have no idea how much it's worth. I send it off, get it refined, and then we offer a price, which I can guarantee is going to be a lot better than cash for gold or most of the other people you're going to find out there.
Okay. I have some friends like you who I consider be very reputable in the gold and silver business, and they've buying estates, buying. I was thinking of a few of my friends in Colorado. They part of their income is they have their shop, and people will come in because they inherited a bunch of sterling silverware, or they inherited some jewelry or something. And this isn't a new phenomenon. This has happened forever. But now it's just become popular, and you put a little bit of super slick advertising on TV. The lady showing her engagement ring. I sold my engagement ring, and I had a vacation to Las Vegas.
Right.
It kills me. But I've called on some of these because I was trying to get an idea on what they were offering, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I think it was around $1,100 an ounce spot price, and I was getting numbers in the $500, $600, $700 range. And I'm like, wow. And these people are just busy hand over fist.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're cutting a fat hog, and really they're just getting taken to the cleaners. So I didn't realize that, Gabe. I didn't realize you guys did that.
We do. It's basically it takes a little time, and like I said, we have to send it off to a refinery. So we try to have a minimum, of at least a few ounces if you want us to send it off for you. But I'd be glad to help anybody out there. It's not our a main thing that we do, but from time to time we are able to help people out with that.
All right. Well, I want to get to another question. Somebody has asked in there the number. You can go to the front page, wideawakenews.com, or at the top of the chat room. There's two banner ads. One of them's for silver, and one of them's for his new promotion, which is the junk silver. And you can click on either one of them, and it'll take you right to their website. Or I can give you the number 800-928-6468, and you can call tomorrow and during regular business hours, and he'll help you out with either the specials, or if you have junk that you want to, or if you have jewelry or whatever that you want to convert, you can talk to Gabe and get an idea of what way to go there. Another question I had was silver dollar. What's a silver dollar worth? And then another one in the same area was an 1889 silver dollar. I'm assuming they're speaking of a Morgan silver. Is that right,
that's
Gabe?
exactly right. Morgan silver.
It's 1 pure ounce, isn't it?
Actually, it's 0.7734 to be exact.
Okay.
But excuse me there. Sorry about that, Charlie.
That's all right. I'll cover for you. I'll cover while you get rolled out there in Texas.
Yeah, I had to jump up and grab something real quick. Let me see. 1889 Morgan. I want to say it's a fairly tough date. It is a fairly tough date and high condition. The problem is, obviously, with someone across the country, we can't see the coin to view it. the coin in a higher condition, like MS-63, MS-64, which it's unlikely that a coin that's just been laying around would exist in that good of a condition. But if it did, you're looking at about $300.
Wow! Holy cow! Okay, that's more into the of what you do that I have no idea, which is the value of the rarity of these coins.
Yeah, that's right. And it's hard to tell. I mean, because it's really based on how well the coin has been preserved. It's something that we have to look at. One example is we sell Morgan silver dollars on our website in brilliant uncirculated condition, and we sell them for about $42 a coin. And then, of course, we have others that have been preserved in really nice quality that, in fact, the most expensive rare coin we've ever sold was a silver dollar. It was over $200,000.
Wow. Do you have any of them left? Do you want to?
Yeah, I wish. Actually, that is an area that we deal in, and I think right now, believe it or not, if you're a real true contrarian, collectibles, baseball cards, fine art, rare coins have really been hit hard lately. They're starting to show a little bit of a comeback, but there's sort of a difference of opinion. You've got a lot of people out there, myself included, that think we're headed for some real catastrophic events. A rare coin probably wouldn't be valued at its full value during an event like that. But I think afterwards, if you've got a longer-term holding period of, 10, 12, 15 years, there could be some really good opportunities out there.
Well, and I think that's, something we've never talked about, Gabe, but I think it's very important. If you're sitting on some old coins and you're thinking about selling them or whatever, make sure you find out what they're worth. I had no idea that an 1889 silver dollar. To me, in my head, I collect it for the value of the metal, the precious metal itself. I could care, it's not my thing. I could care less about the rarity of it. So if you have something, Gabe is a great person to call and run it past him before you make any big move with it. 800-928-6468. His banners are at wideawakenews.com, right at the headline, or they're also in the chat room. Gabe, Elton, thank you very much. I appreciate this. We're going to have to get you on back next month when your next Awesome Report comes out. I always look forward to these. I wish we could do them more often. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Charlie. Talk to you soon.
You bet. All right, guys, stay tuned. There will be a rebroadcast tomorrow. I'm doing that moving thing I was talking about. So tomorrow will be a rebroadcast. I'll be back Monday with Warren Pollock. Please stay tuned for Jeff Rintz because he's coming up next. Have a good night, everyone.
The rest of the world watching at the end of the day, both scared and angry, like, what did he say?